second. Okay, so um, going to connect. Okay, so this is my um, SQL Server Management Studio. That is the program, the application, which provides an interface that we can use to interact with SQL Server Management, SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server. Recall that when in the process of installation, you installed two applications. You installed SQL Server, which is the server itself, which is the relational database management system, as we said yesterday when we're talking about different relational database management system from the slide. So Microsoft SQL Server, that is the first thing you installed. And then the second thing you installed was the SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. SSMS is just the environment, the interface with which you interact with SQL Server system. Okay, so now I'm just going to give you a brief, a very short introduction to this environment. Now, the left area here, where we this left area, this white colored left panel, is called Object Explorer. So, this area is where you find things like the databases that you are working on. This is the name of my own server, of the instance of the server that I installed. Now, if I click on the plus icon uh, to the left of the server name, that's plus icon, it will expand and it will show me a couple of objects in this instance: databases, security, server object, and so on. Now, in most cases, you'll be concerned with databases. If I expand that, I'm going to see things like system databases. Now, you are always advised not to go to this area, system databases. This is provided for the maintenance of the server. If you touch it, your server might malfunction. We also have things like database snapshots. And then following that, you have um, the databases that you either installed, just as we did yesterday with AdventureWorks, or you created by yourself. So databases that you installed and those you created by yourself will be here. You'll find them listed here. So that is a brief introduction to that. Now, when we expand, let's expand one of these databases, AdventureWorks 2022. If I expand that, I'm going to see a couple of objects as well, database diagrams, which you can use to see the diagrams of the database that you're working on. So I can say new diagram. If I click on that, I can visualize the the tables in my database. If I click on add, so that will create a database diagram for me, and I can see the definition, the rows, the columns with which each table is made with, right? So that is database diagram. We also have tables. That is our area of concern. So the tables, if I expand tables, now I can see a very large number of tables here, right? So I have tables like human resources, the department, human resources employee, human resources department history, and so on. Then you have person tables, you have production tables, you have purchasing tables, sales tables, and so on. Okay, so these are the now. Can someone remind us what we said that adventure work is yesterday? Can we get someone to tell us what AdventureWorks sample database is?
I didn't remember you say anything about you say anything about adventure work. You just asked us to download it.
He said it is a database for practice. That's what he said.
Okay.
Exactly. So I said AdventureWorks sample database is a database that is often used for practice, created by Microsoft, the inventor or the creator of this database server. So it is often used for practice as we are going to be using it for the same purpose. Yeah. Okay. So it model a real company. It model a real company. If you look at the details of the tables in the database, you see that they are structured in a way that it looks like real company data. For example, here is a department table that contains information about department. Let me right click on that and do select up to 1000 rows. Now, so you see what I have here. This is the result of the data in the table at the bottom here. You see the data in the table looking like a real company data. It has department ID and then each department in the company and then the group name for each department and then the dates uh, that for that department. So this is AdventureWorks, how it is structured, modeling a real company, but not real actually. So that is AdventureWorks. All right. So now the area, this other area here, this is our editor. This area where you see some query here. This is our editor. This is the area where we'll be writing our SQL queries. We'll be writing our SQL scripts. And the one you see at the bottom here is the that is the area that will always show the result of the query you executed here. So whatever query you wrote here and you execute, you will see the result of the query here. The table you are querying, the data you are fetching, you are retrieving, that would show up in the bottom area here. Um, Now on this area, on the results area, you have two tabs. You have the results tabs and then you have the messages tabs. The results tabs and the messages tabs. So the messages tells you the amount of rows returned by the query as a result of the query you ran, and then the amount of time it took to run that query. And then at the bottom around there, the yellow bar at the bottom here, it tells you that query was successful. If you move to the right of that yellow area, you have the server name, the computer name, the database name you are working on, you are running your query on, the amount of time it took to run a query, and then the amount of rows returned. Will be very, very handy, very, very useful for us. Anytime we run a query, will be oftentimes we'll be looking at this area to see the amount of queries, the amount of rows that was returned as a result of the query we executed. All right, so also at the top area here, you have a couple of commands, in fact, a bunch of commands. Now, you are, I believe you are familiar with this type of things. You have seen something like this in Excel, which is the reason why I will not be touching each command yet, because that is obviously going to take the whole our entire time. I'm just going to give you a pointer to the important commands that we'll be working on, we'll be using often in this course. The first one here is the new query. So anytime you want to create a new query window, when you start writing query, you use that new query command. Just like you created a workbook in Excel. And then, in a workbook, you can have a number of worksheets. So every time you want to create a new worksheet, there's a command that you use to create a new worksheet in that workbook. That is similar to this. Miss Frances?
Hi, Idris. Good afternoon. Sorry to cut you short. Please, is it possible to put your screen on full screen mode? It's quite small. And because this is Teams, we cannot really use focus mode on your screen alone. So I don't know if you can make it full screen so we can see in details what you're doing.
Mr. Idris, has the recording started?
I think he has started recording it
Better.
because we need the recording.
That's why I'm emphasizing it.
It's more important, sir. Please let us not forget the recording.
I hope Mr. Akim is hearing. Akim is not here.
I see something that look like record on top, sir.
It's being recorded, Mr. Tomori.
Okay.
Ask him whether he's speaking. I can't hear him.
Me too, I can't hear
It's not
anything.
speaking, it's
Okay.
muted.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, somebody was asking a question. When I went off, I suddenly just went off.
No, we are
I was
okay now.
saying
We
that
are
if you
recording.
can make your screen a full screen mode, so we can see the details because the icons are small, and we cannot use focus mode on Google Meet. So I don't know if you can make it a full screen mode so we can see it better.
Well, I don't think that is possible. You might just have to wait. Hold on. Let me see. You might just have to endure on this one. Is I'm going to enlarge the text anyway. The text for the
Please, as you are doing that, Mr. Idris, I want to ask a question.
okay.
Can one connect the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio without internet?
It doesn't use internet. It doesn't
Eh.
require any internet connection.
Let me off it so that it can spare my battery.
But what about the internet you're using to connect?
No,
To
I'm using phone because my battery don't last long.
okay. Wait, let me ask. Can you see what I'm writing on the screen?
We saw the one that you write now. One.
One. You cannot see a yellow
We
Right.
saw one yellow this thing, but it's too small, as Francis said, really. But Francis, I think you can enlarge it on your phone so that you'll be able to see what is writing.
Okay,
I'm using a
so
system.
I'm not
Okay.
writing yet. I'm going to enlarge the text. Okay, I'm going to enlarge it. Don't worry.
Okay.
So now moving on. So we have this button here. That is the new query, as I said. So similar to the button you use to create new worksheets in Excel. So if you want to create a new window, you use that new query button. And then this one, we use this one to switch between databases. You see the different, it shows, when I click on that, it shows me the different databases that I have on this server. AdventureWorks 2019, AdventureWorks 2022, master, model, and so on. So now it is important that before you start querying a database, you select that database before you start querying it. It is very, very important. Now, beside that is a command that says execute. Beside that is a command that says execute. Now, execute is a command, as we would soon see, is a command that we use to execute our query. Whenever you write a query and you want to run it, you will use this command to execute. Now, finally, I know for most of you, because you have just installed SQL Server and SQL Server Management Studio, there is usually a number line when you are writing query. There is usually a number line that will number each line of code that you have. Hold on a second. Now, you'll notice that beside each line of the text I've just written, there is a number numbering each line. So this is very, very useful because it allows you to track which line, if you happen to encounter error in your query, it's facilitate the process of identifying that error. So now I need you to follow the steps I'm going to show you now. Oops. Sorry, I had a situation here. Please hold on, just 2-3 minutes. Hello, everyone.
Bye.
All right, so now I'm going to show you how to turn on this number line. The number you see on the line, on each line here. As I said, it will be very, very useful. So let's do that now. I'm going to click on Tools here from the main menu hub here. I'll click on Tools. And I'll go to Options. Options is the last item on the box that shows up. I'll click on Options. And then it will give me a window, this window here. Now I'm going to look for text editor. On the left panel here, you have environment, project and solutions, and you have text editor is the third one. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click on text editor, and then I'm going to go to look for transact SQL.
Hello? I can't hear you.
It seems his network is has issues also. It's going on and off and on.
Okay, I thought I'm the only one that cannot hear. Okay, it's fine. I don't know if you hear that one.
Anna, please mute your mic.
Miss Anna ẹjọ́ ẹ ṣe tó pọ̀ o. Gbogbo nǹkan tẹ̀ ṣe là ń gbọ́ mí báyìí.
Hello, everyone. Give me thumbs up, please, if you are able to turn on the line numbers.
Hello, we are still teaching also.
Oh,
You stopped at text editor. After that,
oh,
we didn't hear anything again.
oh, okay. I didn't know I was off. Okay, let me go back there. Options. Then, okay, so I stopped here at text editor. So when I click text, when I expand text editor, I have a couple of things here. Under text editor, I have general, file extension, all languages, plain text, and I have transact SQL. Now, when you expand transact SQL, you have, and you click on general under transact SQL. If you go to the right, you have a text that says line numbers. Now, make sure that the box, the checkbox beside that line numbers is checked. Click on it to check it, and then click OK. Click on the box beside line numbers on the right panel here, and then click OK.
Done.
Okay, great.
Done.
Okay, now that we are done with that, without further ado, let's start writing some queries. That is a brief introduction to the SQL Server Management Studio interface. Now, as I
But
said,
excuse me,
yes, sir.
how we reach this place? Possibly, if you send the video, I will be able to understand it better.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
I mean, how we reach this phase now, this phase that we are doing now. I know at the start of the lesson, you
New
click the
query, sir.
adventure,
New query. Click on
make
new
query.
query.
I'm going to click new query to show you that now.
Okay, okay.
So this is the command. Now we want to start writing queries. This is the
Okay.
command. The command here, you click on that, and that will create a new query, a new, just like a plain worksheet.
Okay, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Excuse me,
So
sir.
yes, ma'am.
I didn't see transact SQL.
On the,
I'm
are you
trying to
talking
do
of
well.
the
Yeah,
line number?
yeah, I'm trying to do what you
If you
did.
see transact SQL is there.
It's beside. Can you show me where it is?
If you go to text editor on this, on the option box here, you have text editor. Click to expand it. If you scroll down, you see transact SQL. Click on that to expand it, and then move to the right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, our first query, the first query SQL statement we are going to talk about is called select. Okay,
Hmm.
select.
Good.
It's called select statement. Okay, and let me definition of select statement. Yep.
How do you get that slash star?
It is on your keyboard.
And are you also pressing entry?
Entry, what do you mean?
I mean when you press slash star, for
Asterisk.
example.
I think he didn't expect us to write that. He's just explaining.
Okay.
Well, this is because you have the recording. I don't think you have to write this. This
Okay,
is
okay, okay.
this is an
Carry on.
explanation
Carry on.
as she said. So, but if you feel like writing it, no problem. It doesn't harm.
No
Okay,
problem.
so
We'll get
now as you might have read, it says select statement retrieves rows and columns from the database and the selection of one or more tables in SQL Server. Now, if you remember from my yesterday's presentation, where I was talking about the different languages, different sub languages under SQL. Now, I talked about data definition language, data manipulation language, and data control language. Now, the one we are focusing on in this course is data manipulation language, which operates at the data level. So we are going to be using this. There were four: select, insert, update, and delete. Now we're talking about select here. So select is used to retrieve data from the table. I'm going to show you that now. Now let's retrieve some data. So say we have a table called employee. Let's go to Object Explorer and then check our database, our AdventureWorks. So if I expand the AdventureWorks and I look into the database, and I can see that I have a table called human resources.employee. If I expand that table and I expand the columns to see the columns in that table, I will see the number of columns that I have. I will see the columns rather. Business entity ID, national ID number, login ID, and so on and so forth. These are the columns in the table, human resources of the employee. Now, let me say I was asked, say for example, I was asked to query that table and retrieve all the data from that table. I was asked by my superior as the data analyst to query that table and retrieve all the data from the table. Now, the SQL statement I'm going to use for that is this. I'm going to say select asterisk from
Human resources. Human
human
resources.
resources
Dot employee.
dot employee. Now I'm going to select that. and I'm going to click execute. You remember the execute button?
Yes.
I'm going to click on the button to execute the query. And indeed, in a very, very short time, in a very, very short amount of time, I got a result of, if you look at the bottom right here on that yellow bar, I got 290 rows returned in a no time. So now if you looking at the table, I have all the columns and rows returned: business entity ID, national ID number for each department, the login ID for the department, the organization node, uh, the organization level, the job title for each employee, and the birth date, marital status, gender, hire date, salaried flag, vacation hours, sick leave hours, current flag, and the auto-generated ID. Now, this is the beauty of SQL. So with just a simple statement like this, we are able to fetch data, what data amounting to 290 rows. Now, just to give you to explain each part of this query for you. Now, as I said, the select statement, the select keyword, that that word is a word that is used to retrieve rows and columns from the database table. Select. Now, asterisk following that, the asterisk following it is, the asterisk means all. It means all, meaning all columns. All columns. The asterisk means all columns. That is what it means. It's just like you say you put all here. But obviously, SQL does not understand all in that position. So you definitely get an error message. If I execute that, I will get an error message because SQL does not understand all in that regard. So asterisk means all. When SQL server sees asterisk, you understood it as all columns. Now, next is from. Now, you are indicating the source from which you want to get the data, which is indicated by from. Following that is human resources dot employee. That is the source where you are getting the data from. Now, this is made up of two words. What does each one mean? Now, human resources here, preceding employee. Human resources is what we call a schema. Schema. And you see different schema as we progress. Okay? A schema is a way to organize related related tables. Okay, is a group, is actually a group of related things. For example, you might say in a company you have different departments in a company, right? You have human resources, you have engineering, you have accounting, you have, and so on and so forth. You have different departments. Now, each entity Now, let's say, for example, all the staff, all the members of staff under human resources, they are related in what way? In a sense way that they belong to the same department. So if you are asked to group the employees in your company by the department they belong to, you definitely write the department on top and then the names of those employees under the department they belong to. So in that regard, those employees are related because they belong to the same department. Similarly, schema is just a way to organize, to put things that are related together, to organize those things, put them under one category. Now, let's go back to Object Explorer. You see many of that. If I Now, if you look at the table here, I have human resources dot department, human resources dot employee, human resources dot employee department history, and just a few tables after, you see that the same human resources is preceding the tables. Now, if you go to if you move further, you see person address, person dot address, person dot address type, person business entity, person business entity address. Now, all of these tables also belong to the same schema. Because they are related, we are using the same schema, which is person, to group them together, to put them under one name schema, under one name person. Similarly, if you scroll down, you have production, and then you see a couple of tables that belongs to that schema: bill of materials, culture, document, illustration, location, and so on and so forth. In fact, I think production is the largest department, is the largest schema here. If you move further, you see purchasing schema, you see sales schema, and so on. So that is a schema. Any question? Any question on that?
Hello, Mr. Idris.
Yes, sir, I'm with you, sir.
Like when we finish writing select, we give a gap. We now write asterisk and give a gap, Abi.
You said when I finished
I mean,
writing,
when we are writing the command, like we say select from, we have to say select dash asterisk dash from to give like a spacing between them.
yes, you have to provide a space
Okay.
after each command.
Okay.
Mr. Idris, so
Yes,
I've
please.
done mine is showing invalid object name. So by the side, I check my connect. I'm not seeing adventure work there. So it's showing invalid object name, human resources dot employee.
Okay, Miss Hannah, the first thing you want to make sure is that you are connected to the server. That is the first thing. You want to make sure that you are connected to the server. So if you come to Object Explorer and you cannot find this all of this stuff here, database security and so on, it means you are not connected. Do you find them?
Yes, I can find them there.
Now, when you expand databases, is AdventureWorks there?
Yes, it is. It's there.
Okay, that means you are connected. Now, secondly, you need to, I mentioned this earlier, you need to make sure that the database you want to query is selected. By clicking on this command here, you get a list of the databases that you have on your database server. You should select the database that you intend to query. In my case here, I'm querying AdventureWorks 2022.
Okay. Let
Do
me
you
check that.
understand?
Let me do that. Can you show me the arrow again? Can you show me again?
This one,
Very sweet. God.
this command.
Okay, it's
This
beside
easy.
okay, let me check it.
Now, wow. Ha.
So my own is not highlighted.
Just select is AdventureWorks there.
Yes.
Click on it and then run your query again.
I can see the answer of my query.
My execute is not selected, is not highlighted.
You have to select your query like this before you run it. You have to select it. Okay,
Okay,
select
yeah,
it
that's
and
worked.
then click
Yes,
execute.
good.
Otishisha. Done.
Miss Anna, I will find you.
Done. Sorry, sir.
Don't worry. Okay, so any other question?
Now, wow. It's always good to develop oneself. You just see some people writing down everything's out.
All right, so
Yeah.
now finally on this query, you have the name of the table, employee, right? That is the table we are targeting, that we
Mhm.
want to retrieve data from. Okay, so now there is a dot between that separates the schema from the table name. Now finally there is a semicolon. There is a semicolon. Now you need to make sure a semicolon is not important. If I execute the query, let me see, without a semicolon, it will run. But the practice, as a good practice, is good to always put a semicolon at the end of your statement. Think of semicolon as the full stop you put when you're writing, after writing a sentence. You know, when you write a meaningful sentence, it's a sentence that conveys a message. You put a full stop to indicate that that sentence has ended. Similarly, semicolon here indicate that a statement has completed. So you need to always provide it. All right. Now here is a task for you. Your task is, hold on a second. So write a query. Write a query that will retrieve all data, all rows and columns from the person.address table. Oops.
We'll retrieve all
Write
the
a query
columns
to retrieve all rows and columns from the person.address table.
dot address table.
From where?
Let me write a query that will retrieve all rows and columns from the person.address table.
I can't hear that grammar. What is it? Can you write it there? Let us see.
I'm writing it now.
Our schema is select
Do that now. I'm giving you just 3 minutes to do it.
The one we did before. What
from
we did override this one we did before.
No, no, no. Just under it, press enter on your keyboard and write it.
person to address table. Person.
Done.
I can't get a single thing from there. What am I not doing well?
Is that Mr. Geoffrey?
I did it. What I'm
Okay.
saying is a different
I
address.
did it, but I'm not seeing anything too.
I can
Let
see,
me
but
do it again.
the address I'm seeing is not clear. It's a
Please
Roman
check your
language.
query. Mr. Mike, please check your query very well. You
Okay.
might have missed something.
Address.
This language, programming languages are very, very sensitive. If you
Fella,
miss one thing, you will not get a result. So are we all right in this query? Give me thumbs up if you have done it. Give me thumbs up if you have done it
Uh-uh.
and it is working
Yeah.
successfully.
My syntax is not picking up the person dot address from the
Select
database.
from.
What do you mean it's not picking up the... What
It
do you
should
mean
be
by that?
it should be highlighted. I can see the table, but when I wrote the query, select asterisk person dot address, nothing is coming.
What does it tell you? What message does it give you?
Okay, execute. I saw it. Oh, I did.
Okay, congratulations. Mr. Taiwo, what does
90,614
it tell you? What message did you get back?
rows.
Mr.
My
Taiwo,
my own
are
is
you
showing
talking?
incorrect syntax.
No, just rewrite it.
That's why you need
Select
to check your
I wrote
query very well.
select star from the persons dot address table, then
Do you
semicolon.
now put a semicolon there? Then you pick it
Semicolon
and
is there.
press execute.
Semicolon is there. Select
You will
star from
press select
mhm.
dash asterisk dash from person dot address
Okay.
semicolon. Highlight and execute.
master, now you be the teacher now.
My brother, I just dey try.
Mr. Idris.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So,
I'm with you. Go ahead, please.
I tried to execute the code from the beginning, but I keep getting an error. I'm unable to share a screenshot though.
Okay, so this is it. This is how if you have written it, you can compare this with what you have written. Did you write it this
It
way?
says, yeah, it says invalid object name, basically.
Okay, so if it says invalid object name, that means you haven't selected the database you are querying. As I said earlier, you have to pick the database
Got it.
from this command. Click on this area here, click on that command. It will give you a list of the database that you have on your server. And then you can pick the database that you intend to
Done.
query.
Done.
Okay, I get it. That was the error. Thank you.
All right,
Done.
well, so working for everyone. Mr. Taiwo, is it working for you now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now I needed someone to guess. In fact, I need everyone to guess. Why do you think I am writing if you compare what I have in this asterisk forward slash, in fact, let me do this. Let me, instead of asterisk forward slash here, let me do this. Hold on a second. So now if you look at this part here, the top here, when I started by writing this asterisk forward slash. and then I wrote forward slash asterisk, and then I wrote a bunch of statements that does not that do not adhere with the SQL standard. You can see that this is not an SQL. This is a plain English, right?
Mhm.
Isn't it?
It is.
So, but I am putting it in inside this asterisk forward slash asterisk asterisk forward slash. Now below here, I'm doing something similar this time with two dashes before the text. Who can guess what this is?
I think that should be a question, so that the database will know that it's not something to execute.
Well, you gave a very correct definition, but the statement, the name that you gave it is not correct. I think you call it a question.
Uh, I mean that one will kind of differentiate what you are writing from a command.
Yes, exactly. That is so basically you are saying it tells the SQL server to ignore this thing, right?
Yes.
But there's a name we call it, right? So it is called comment.
Okay.
Comment. So comment is used in programming languages to comment out a code. Or sorry, to make a comment, rather, not a code, to make a comment. So that when you're writing a query, as you write a query, you might, for some reason, you might leave that query, and it might be after a couple of months, maybe after 6 months before you come back to that query. Now, or you leave the company that you are working for. Now, if you do not give a proper documentation on the query you have written, say for example, you are working in a company as a data analyst and you have written a lot of queries for that company. Now, during your time in that company, if you didn't provide documentation for the query you wrote while you are in that company, anybody that assume that position after you will definitely struggle because they would have to work hard to understand the queries you've written. So comments provide you a way to document each query that you write to explain what each query is doing. I hope you understand now. It's just like
Yes.
a note that you put above or below or around the query that you have written to convey to other people what the purpose of that query is. That's comment. I hope that is
Excuse,
clear.
yeah, excuse me, sir. That's for star and forward slash also. Is it a comment?
Yeah, both of them are
Is it
comments.
okay?
I'm coming to that. Okay, let me just talk about it now. Forward slash asterisk, asterisk forward slash is a multi-line comment. It allows you to, if you write forward slash asterisk and then you have asterisk forward slash, you can have comments that span multiple lines.
Okay.
Do you understand? Comments that go across, that extend to multiple lines. But if you are using double slashes, then you can only write comment on that line. If you want to write another comment, you have to provide another double slashes. Do you understand the difference? So if you want to write on another line and you don't provide that double slashes, then you have a problem.
Okay.
So single line comment and multi-line comments. That is the difference. Is it clear?
So yes, sir. So
Yes.
forward slash and slash before star.
Yes.
They
Forward
are
slash
performing the
asterisk.
same function.
Forward slash, yes. Forward slash asterisk, asterisk forward slash. Then in between that, you provide your comment. Is it clear?
Yes.
All right, let's move on. Okay, so we are now going to look at another important, a very, very important. Okay, before we do that, let's talk about subsets. Um, so, say for example, now the what's it called? Let me look at the table we have. Okay, there is a table called person table. I'll just copy that. I paste that and I'll change address to person. There's a table called person in the AdventureWorks database. If I run a query on that, it will fetch me the data in that table, 19,972 rows returned. So the table has columns such as business entity ID, person type, entity style, title, first name, middle name, last name, suffix, and so on. Now, let's say your superior, as a data analyst in the company, you are told to fetch the data in this in the person table, but just the important, just the necessary columns. You are told not to retrieve all of the columns because they are not useful for the purpose for which you are doing it. You want to see you want to see fewer columns in as a result. So let's say the task given to you is, let me write it down. The task given to you is write a query to retrieve uh, a subset of columns, or let me just call it fewer columns, namely business entity ID, house name, and last name. So this is the task given to you. Okay, let me finish that from the person table. That is the task. Write a query to retrieve fewer columns, fewer columns. Okay, write a query to retrieve fewer columns, namely business entity ID, first name, last name from the person table. What would you do? How would you write a query to retrieve this? Now, can you guess? Can you try and tell me what I would change in this query? This query is obviously giving me all the columns.
Mhm.
So
What am I going to change here? Somebody raised his
you are
hand.
going
Frances.
you are going
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, you take away the star
Star. Yeah.
and just select the tables instead.
Come again.
You remove the star. So instead of select star, it will be select the columns you need from.
Okay. Can you explain?
So select the columns, the business entity ID column.
Okay, business entity ID. Uh-huh.
Yeah, comma space
Mm-hmm.
first name
First name.
comma last name. But you should add person from behind. That's person dot business entity, I believe. I don't know, but then yeah,
I
last name.
should
But
add business person from where?
just execute with this. I think this should bring it.
This should be okay, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Let's do it. So I'm going to execute. I'll select use and execute. And indeed, it worked. So Miss Frances is a guru. She's been hiding herself. Everybody, you are looking for SQL guru in this class. You know Miss Frances.
Um, Mr. Idris,
Yes, go ahead, sir.
please, if we don't want to remove the select from person to person that we did, you know, we have a line to 26 now. What can we do?
Okay, I don't quite understand your question.
No, what I'm saying is, you know, as we are executing each command,
Yeah,
the thing is writing number one, number two, number three to
the
29.
line numbers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
So I now say, what can we do so that we can be having the command aggregated?
So that you can have the same numbers as
This 26 that you have now.
no, no, you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
The number is based on the number of the amount of queries that you have written. So if you have
Okay.
written fewer queries, you are going to get fewer numbers. If you are written more queries, you are going to get more numbers.
What I'm even saying is how it will be aggregating. Are you
How
pressing enter?
how it does what?
How it will be aggregating like my own now, you know, I did a select from person to person. I now click new query. Possibly that's why it is not aggregating. Carry on with the class. I know you might not get my request. Don't worry.
Okay,
I
sir.
might call
Okay.
you later.
All right, sir. So that is how we can select a subset of columns from our from the table. Okay. Now keep that in mind. That's how you use. Now, okay. Before we go, can you quickly do um? Okay, let's not waste time on that. So let's talk about a new topic. Let's talk about a new topic called filter. Filtering. Now can somebody tell us about filtering? What do you understand?
What
Ah,
what that one means is you have what you need and you remove what you don't want.
Exactly. You keep what you need and you remove you do away with what you don't need. Exactly. That is what filtering is. So SQL provides you. Yeah. Hannah, please go ahead.
yeah, thank you. I want to ask a question. Is SQS case sensitive? As in this select and form, must it be in capital letter? Must it always be in capital letter? Or
No,
we can
no. SQL is not case
and we
sensitive.
can write small letter too.
Yes,
Or
but
select and form.
as a practice, it is good to write it. Um, it is good to write it to write the statement, the keywords, because there are different words here. It is good to write the keywords in capital letter or true. For example, the blue ones are the keywords. Select is a keyword recognized or reserved by SQL. From is a keyword. You see that the keywords are painted in different colors. So
Yes.
from the others. but these ones are the table column names. So you can write them in any case, but the convention, the practice is to write the keywords in capital letter, and then the column names as they are in the table. All right, so let's talk about we're talking about filtering. So the feature of SQL, the feature that SQL provides for filtering, one of the first one or the most useful one is called the where clause. The where clause. Okay, the where clause allows us or specifies, let me write that down. Specifies the search condition, okay, for the rows. It specifies the search condition for the rows returned by the query. That is what it does. So it specifies the search condition for the rows returned by the query. Now let's have an example. So you remember the example I gave you in the slide yesterday, where we had a query that was retrieving people's name, some person's name, but only those people whose last name is Brown. Let me write that down. So let me say I want to write a query. Write a query. A query that retrieves persons whose last name is Brown from the person dot person table. Okay, now that is the task that we have before us now. Write a query that retrieves persons. Oh, is that correct? Write a query that retrieves persons whose last name is Brown from the person table. Now, as you may have guessed, we'll write the query like this. We'll say, now let's say I say specifically, specifically, I say return business entity ID. First name, last name only, right? Specifically. So that means I will write a query like this. I will say select from person dot person, and then I will say business entity ID, and then first name and last name. Okay. Now, if I run this query, we've already seen this query before, right? If I run this query, it's going to give me the same results. Now, I got the result is the number of rows, the amount of rows returned is 19,972 rows. Now, but here the task is to filter these results. So only last names. So only those people whose last name is Brown. We can see from the last name column that we have different kind of last names. But we want to restrict this. We want to restrict this to just those people whose last name is Brown. So how do we do that? We are going to use
Where?
a where clause, as I said, which is used to narrow down the results. So I will say after from, I will say where last name equals in quotes, in single quotes, Brown, like that. Now let me execute. And indeed, I got those people whose last name is only Brown. You can see from the last name column. And then you can see the number of rows returned now, 92. 92 rows returned. Please write that query and check, confirm that it runs on your server as well. Did you run it? Did
We
you run
are
it?
we are we are still trying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, done, Mr. Taiwo. Good. So if you are done with that, Mr.
Done.
Taiwo, okay, great. Here's a task for you. Here's a task for you. So you can start this task now. So write a query that uses the where clause to filter the results to only include employees with the job title, production technician,
Wait,
hyphen.
let me see the formula you use up there, please. We're not good.
What did you say?
Let me see the formula up there, please.
Okay.
Up.
Done.
Okay, so if you are done, if you have run that query successfully, please do this task. Write a query um, that uses the where clause to filter the results. Actually, hold on. Let me check this table. May not complicate issues. Okay, so this is a table. Write a query that uses where clause to filter the result to only include employees with the job title to designer from human resources employee table. Please do that now.
The results to only include employees. Okay. We select to
Done.
Okay.
not done. No. Resources. Dot.
If you are done, give me thumbs up.
Yeah.
Give me thumbs up. Just give me thumbs up. Don't talk. Just
Where
give me thumbs up. Okay. Mr. Geoffrey,
I'm lost.
what did you say?
I'm lost. So the first one I've not done.
Uh, this is it now. You are looking at it on the screen.
to
I've typed in the command. It's not bringing out.
Is what?
The quote, is it a double quote or single quote?
Is single quotes. Miss Frances.
Huh?
I think my formula must be very wrong.
Please check it very well. Use this one as an example. You're only changing a few things in that in your query.
You mean we have to change little thing from that the one with business entity?
Yes, you are changing just a few things in the new query that you're writing.
Well, let me go to the new one because it's not getting it.
Miss Frances, are you working? Are you there? Did you successful? Okay, that's a thumbs up. Miss Toyin.
I'm not successful.
Mr. Mutiu.
Filter the result to only include employees.
Hello, sorry. Hello,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm just following you. Don't worry, I'm just following you. I'm not with my laptop.
Okay.
Let's
Awawu. Mr. Awawu. Mr. Awawu, are you there? I can't hear you. You have to speak louder.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, yes. I said I'm just following the class with my phone.
Okay.
I've not been able to download the video on my laptop. So I have
Okay.
issues with my laptop.
Okay.
So I'm following
Miss.
with the
Okay. Miss Abiba.
Is equal to
Miss
quotes
Abiba.
to
Mr. Felix.
I think my query is wrong.
Okay.
My
So
query is wrong.
Mr. Tomori.
Eh?
Write Celesta from.
I'm just going to write it now.
Okay.
So this is it. I'll copy that and paste it here.
Okay.
So it's a different table, right? Human resources. So
Hmm.
let me just basically select all the columns. So from human resources dot employee, where job title as a column, job title is equals
Okay. This is where I made mistake.
equals to design to designer.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen
that
my
is it.
mistake. Select. Uh,
So you see that we only have,
please look.
because we have two designers in the table. We got two
Uh,
rows. Okay, Mr. Taiwo, are you back?
Yes, sir.
Were you able to do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So,
great.
well, the only mistake I did was that I joined two designers together. I didn't put space there. So it
Okay,
didn't
so
give
did it
I
me,
give
too.
you
I think
did
it
it give
didn't
that's
you the
bring
part
out
of
the
my
result?
name.
mistake.
It
Actually.
just brought out the table. It didn't bring out the
So
name. So I just corrected it now. When you tapped it.
Okay, so let me use this opportunity to talk about what we string and numbers, different data types. You know, you might have come across this in Excel. There are different data types. Can somebody tell me about just a few different data types that we have, and what are they?
We have strings, which are text, like this two designer, and are usually wrapped in um, apostrophes. We
Yeah,
have numbers,
we
which
call it quotes.
and quotes. Yeah, we have numbers like the 1 to 3. We have floats like the decimals.
Mm-hmm, exactly. So basically, we have different data. You know, in our world, in our real world, we have different types of data in our real world, right? We have numbers, we have, you know, we have information like people's name, objects name, you know, so many types of information that can be represented with different type of data. So some information are best represented with numbers. Some are best represented with text. Some are best represented with other types of data. So similarly, in that case, programming languages provide features that we can use to represent those types of data. One of them is string. Now, string um, is a text or a mixture of, it can be a mixture, it can be only text, it can be numbers, but it has to be embedded, it has to be enclosed in quotes. So I can put 20, if I put two here, for example, I'm just using this as an example. So if I put two here, or a 3 rather. This is a string. The reason is it is inside quotes. That's why it is a string. Immediately I remove the quotes, it becomes a number, right? It becomes a number. So if I put the quote around it, it becomes a string. That is the difference. Okay. Now let's let's write a query. Um, so just to show you that we can write a query to retrieve different types of data in our table. Okay. So if, say for example, we want to write a query that will retrieve um, that will retrieve some persons, that will retrieve some data. Let me say from the product table, okay, that will retrieve. Let me write that query. Let me write a query to retrieve uh, data from product, that will retrieve product ID, name, and list price from the production dot product table. Okay. Now let's say where list price, where product price, let me just say where product price is greater than $50. Okay, so this is a task. This is a query. Write a query to retrieve product ID, name, list price from production.product table where product price is greater than $50. So if we are going to write this query, let's go ahead, let's do it. So I'm going to say select from the target table, that is production dot product, okay, product ID, name, list price. Okay. Now where list price greater than uh 50 $50, greater than 50. Now let me run this query. And indeed, I got 251 rows returned. Now, if you look at the list price column, the data that you have on the list price column are all greater than 50, right? Are all greater than 50. So this is an example of how to use number. So in this case, we are comparing with number instead of string that we used above. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Please, why is it list price instead of product price? Where we write where?
It is the same thing.
Okay, so we can put product price there too.
I'm using no. You cannot put product price there. I'm using product price here to refer to list price. List price here means product price.
Okay.
Are we done with that query so that we can move on?
My battery is down. You can move on for my own. I'll do it later.
We are on it though.
Okay.
Done.
Okay, so I hope everyone else is done. Okay, so let's talk about comparison operators. I've used a comparison operator. Yeah. So we have different operators. Um, we call them comparison operators. We use them to compare. So we have the greater than, we have the less than, we have
Equal to.
greater than or equal, we have less than or equal, and then we have equal, and then we have not equal. Greater than, greater than, less than, greater than or equal, or equals, less than or equals, then we have equals, and then we have
Not
not
equal.
equals. Okay, so these are the different comparison operators that we have, and you can see an example of that above here. We are comparing these two values. Is list price greater than 50? So this is usually these operators, they are going to return something because this is just a comparison. It's like you are asking a question, like you are asking, is list price greater than 50? Now you can imagine this as having a question mark, although you cannot put a question mark, that will return an error. But you can imagine that as, or imagine that as something like this, as a question: is list price greater than greater than 50? That is the question you are asking. Is list price greater than 50? That is the question this statement is asking. Now, this operator, we are using that to compare the two values. So every time the data in list price is greater than 50, we are going to get something, a value, which is what we call a Boolean value. A Boolean value. Let me write that down. Boolean value. Now, remember I talked about different data types earlier.
Yes.
So Boolean is also another type of data, and it has just two values. String, there are many types of string. Numbers, there are many types of numbers. But Boolean has only two values. Only two values. Only two values, which are true and false.
Us.
Right? So true means, in other words, yes. False means, in other words, no.
No.
So what does that tell you? That tells you that now we know that this operator is going to return a Boolean value. Now, and then we said we are asking a question. So if this question is true, happens to be true, if truly the data in list rise is greater than 50, then we are going to get true, which means yes. If the data is not greater than 50, we are going to get false, which means no. That's why you can see in the results, we only add columns, are only data that are greater than 50. Those that are not greater than 50 are not part of the results, right? So, so that is how these operators work. So they return true to the where clause. They provide true to the where clause. True or false to the where clause. Any question on that?
Boolean.
Okay, so if there is no question, now let's talk about, because we're going to be using these comparison operators as we move on now. Let's talk about logical operators. Logical operators. Oops. Logical operators. Has anybody taken a course on logic before? There's something we call Boolean algebra. Has anybody here taken that course before?
Anna, raise up your hand.
Yes. Wow, leave me alone.
What did you say?
Yes.
Anna will do it.
I didn't hear you, sir.
I say Anna. Anna.
Okay. Anna, have you taken a course on Boolean algebra before?
Yes.
Oh, so how was it?
It's fine.
Okay. It can be a little bit daunting, but it's a very, very interesting course. Am I
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we are going to have some elements of that here. We're going to talk about and, or, and not.
If.
Yeah, but before we talk about are, on, and not, let's talk about like, logical like. SQL provides another operator called like, the like operator. So how does this work? It determines, let me write that down. This operator Okay, so that is it.
Determine whether.
All right. So the like operator determines whether a specific character string matches a specified pattern. A pattern can include regular characters and wildcards. Okay, so let's see an example. Let's see an example here. I'm going to write another comment. Okay. Um, okay. So the all right. So let's say you were given a task, and the task is to write a query that would retrieve data from a table, but in particular the person table. So, but only we want to see only those persons whose last name starts with S. Do you understand? The previous example that we had was whose last name is Brown, but this one is those people whose last name starts with S. That is the task given to you as the data analyst. So how would you write that? Let's see. So we're told here that there's a wildcard percentage. This percentage is called wildcard. There's a wildcard that we can use for that. And along with the like operator. Now let's write that query. So I'm going to say select from person dot person table business entity ID first name and last name. Now, as usual, my where clause, where last name where last name. Now, instead of equal, right, I will do like, where last name like, then I have the string, and then I'll have the wildcard percentage, and then I will have S. So what does that tell you? Let's run the query and see. Oh, I think I put the S in the wrong place. Yeah, should be like this. Okay, so what do you see? We have 2,130 rows returned. Now, if you look at the last name column, you see that we only add persons whose last name starts with S. You can go through the entire rows. You will not find one single column that starts with any other letter. One single row that its last name starts with any other letter except S. So this is the pattern that we talked about that I put in the text above or in the definition of the like operator. This is the pattern that we are looking out for, that we are trying to match. That is the pattern. So we are saying when S is comes before percentage, then we are saying any name that starts with S, any name or any data that starts with S, any data that starts with S. When S comes after percentage, we are saying any data that ends with S. If you look at it now, when I put S after percentage, I have things like names like Abbas, Aboros, Adams, and so on. Names that end with S. I hope this is clear. You can run the query to check out for yourself.
Hello, Mr. Idris.
Yes, sir, I'm with you.
Mr. Idris,
I'm with you, sir.
please, sir, I mistakenly clicked new query. All the thing I've been doing for wipe
Uh,
up. How can
the,
I
the
retrieve it?
the existing query should be beside the new query tab. If you click, let me show you. If you click new query, you
Um,
get something like this. So this is
okay,
the
I've
new
seen it.
query.
I've seen it.
Okay.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Uh-huh. Are we working on it? Give me thumbs up if you are done with this query. Give me thumbs up.
I'm following you up.
Okay, your computer has shut down.
Yes,
Okay.
I was thinking I would go out today, but when I was able to do my this thing, I said I will call you by 1 p.m. So I decided to stay inside.
Okay, no worries. What time are we rounding up today?
4.
4.
Yes.
Okay. So it is almost 4.
Let us go and cool our head with what we have learned today.
Yeah.
At least no one will do Sakara for me again now on
What did
this
you say?
SQL.
What did you say, sir?
I say no one will do Sakara for me in my office again, sir. At least I have the background now.
So you can punish them well.
I, you know, one is targeting other higher area now. Make I be like Anna.
Not my Anna.
She's the guru, yeah.
She is.
And
I'm a
Frances.
mathematician now.
Yes.
And
My own,
Frances. Both of
my
them
own
are
don't
the
enter
gurus.
there. Eh?
I said
My,
Frances and Anna are the gurus here.
And possibly Taiwo.
Yes, Mr. Taiwo. Yes, that is just a
it's
silent guru. He doesn't
a
talk much.
silent executor.
Mm,
A silent executor. What of Madam Identic? Is she there?
I
uh,
know we are about 8 here.
I've not seen identical.
No, you are more than eight. Oh. I think
Uh-huh.
about nine,
Can
nine
you see
or 10.
identical? Can you see identical?
Let me check. She's here. She's just she decided to keep.
Mr.
Uh,
Idris, you have to be advertising this your organization well.
you,
I think you should send your poster to me. Let me post it on my Facebook.
okay, no, Allah, sir.
Okay, I got it now. My head not correct now.
Geoffrey, your head is correct before. You know now this one now old age learning.
Okay, so can we move on to the next stuff now?
Topic. Have a next time.
Okay, so
You-
now what we have looked at now is a query that matches a data that starts with a particular letter or particular character. Can we also search out for a name or a data that contains a particular data? For example, say
I have a question. This white card percentage you use, this white card percentage you use,
yes,
is it that in the table from the database we have there,
yeah.
did they group those data by white card percentage, or why? What is the base of using that white card percentage? Because I look at the query that they brought out, I can't see white card percentage.
Wildcard is one of the features provided by SQL by SQL. It is defined in the SQL language. Similar to just like um what's it called now? Select statements is part of the language.
Okay,
Similarly, these things are also part of the language. So
okay,
they have a specific meaning
okay.
to the
So
language.
when you are using that word like, okay, well, because you are taking a particular something you
White
are
card.
pursuing or that you want to get, then that white cat percentage must be used. For
No,
instance, I want to
the,
whose first name start with J. For instance, that means because you say whose first name start with J, you will use that like and that percentage and J before those percentage, you'll be able to derive your answer.
yeah. So you remember the definition we gave for like. As I
Mm,
said, it is part of the language. So
okay,
when SQL server sees it, he understands
okay,
that you are trying to search for a character or a pattern in the data. So it says it
okay,
determines whether a specific character string matches a specified data. That is the
okay,
function of the like operator.
okay,
So you have a data, you can use it to compare two data and see if they match.
okay,
That is exactly what it does. So now, as I said, we have looked at a situation where a data starts with a particular character. Can we also look at a situation where a data actually contains a particular character? For example, can we look for last names that contain some specific characters? Yes, we can do that with the wildcard again. So let's say we want to, this time, let me use the product table. So I'll say,
Select.
let me say select. I'm going to write select from
Where?
production dot product. Now the columns I want to get from that table is product ID and product name. Now I'll say where
Okay.
where name of the products, like like bike. Bike. Okay. So now what I want is a situation where the name of the product contains this data, this character, not start with, neither start with nor ends with. So what I'm going to do in that case is I'm going to surround the data with the white card like this.
Okay. Okay.
I don't understand, sir.
Okay, let me repeat that. Now, do you understand what we did with this one above?
Yes.
So we're looking for a last name that starts with this character S, isn't it?
Yes.
But we want to look for a let's say we want to look for a last name that contains this character. So we can do something like this. We want to look for a last name that contains S, not start with, neither start with nor end with, but that contains it. It could be at the start, it could be at the middle, it could be at the end. Do you understand?
Yes.
That is exactly what this does. Let me run that. So you see that I have, if you look at the names, the last names returned, you'll notice that they either have S at the beginning, at the middle, or just anywhere in the name, but it must contain S. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. So similarly, we are looking for a product name that contains bike. Let me run that. Now, what do I get as a result? I got 5 rows returned. Now, if you look at the results, you'll see that each product name here contains the word bike. If you look at it very well, each product name here contains the word bike. If I run that query without the where clause, I'll get a larger table, 504 rows returned. Now, when I run it with the where clause, I get just 5 rows returned. I hope this is clear.
Oui. Mr. Idris, people like you not supposed to do Nigeria at all.
Why did this one have 2%? The first one we used has only one.
Mr. Geoffrey, I've explained though, were you attending to your wife?
I'm telling you, it's like
He said, if you want anything that has bike in the product, you use that.
But if you remove one, go.
It means you want bike to be at the end. If it is the first percentage you remove, you want bike to be at the beginning of the product. You understand?
Mm.
That percentage is somewhere the thing you want the thing to be.
Mr. Tomori is the professor of the group. Done.
Ìwọ tí gbogbo ẹ̀ dán ṣá ló ń ṣiṣẹ́.
What now?
I have idea of SQL before. You see, when you are doing your Power BI, did I follow you guys? I did not know.
Anna, send your phone number to me.
Okay.
The phone number is where the husband is showing displaying and Ankara show.
And have fantastic ear.
Dr. Tomori, your
Yeah?
colleague is my roommate. Don't
What
say I tell you. Oh.
Is he Messi?
Yes, don't say I tell you. Oh, please. Oh.
Messi is Nyamini Messi now.
Má sọ pé mo sọ fún yín o.
Mi ò ní sọ. But báwo ló ṣe máa pè mí ni?
Níjọ́ yẹn tí ẹ mọ̀ pé ẹ má sọ̀rọ̀ lórí group dáadáa. So ó gbọ́ ohun yín ó ní ìfá Michael Tomori mo ní yes. Ó ní is my boss.
Ama ní mo like way too much.
Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má sọ pé mo sọ fún yín ó máa wọ.
Kò sí bá a ṣe ní mara wa náà.
Ẹ sọ fún èmi lọ́kọ̀. Ẹ sọ fún.
Ọmọ ẹ a máa target ẹ.
Ó ti lọ church.
Sọ́dà àwọn ọmọ tèmi náà di citizen.
Ó ti lọ.
So we have.
Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ o, let's close o. I want to go to church.
Okay,
Èmi kan fẹ́ lọ sí mi. Mr. Idris, èyí tá a ṣe jẹ́ alọ́mọ mi sí.
Ṣé o ti tó báyìí ni?
It's 4 o'clock. I never eat since I come back from church.
I mean, I want to go to church. I'm dressing.
Mr.
Okay, it's around
Mr. Joffrey, can't you fast?
now. Anna.
Yes.
Mr. Idris, you just left me alone. Do you know yesterday I battled this to bring this in? I have to use knowledge of IT system to go and get permission inside
Geoffrey.
the.
Mr. Joffrey.
Now me alone did my own. When I called Idris, he did not pick my call.
I have to use IT system. I have knowledge before when I was installing QuickBook and Sage and whatever. I have to go and grant permission at the back end before I can even ask you.
Mr. Joffrey. If you saw me yesterday, you pity me.
Are you a Miloko? Why would I pity you?
It's a Miloko now. We quarrel it. I'm a Miloko now.
I told you, I put it on the group yesterday that my day was filled up, congested.
My brother, it's not easy.
I had several classes yesterday. I slept by past 1.
But you know that until when I finish it, I did not sleep now.
Yes, so
I slept.
as you close 2 o'clock,
I battled by 1. Did you sleep by 1 a.m.?
I think I finished it around past 12.
Past 12?
Yes.
Past 12 and past 1 a.m. is different now.
I know now, but the age is different now.
Exactly. The age is different.
Yes.
Okay, I agree. I agree.
But
so I have not recovered from the stress of.
Can you see Anna and the environment where he is?
Don't worry, I will get the picture
Anna,
of the children.
Anna, don't talk, you don't run.
Let Anna go to church next week.
Okay, Mr. Idris.
We are waiting for the video.
Mr. Idris,
yes,
I think this SQ is fantastic. It is
brother,
fantastic.
that thing is good.
The way you are going about it is fantastic. By the time we finish, I think all things being equal, we'll be flying.
They are good lecturers.
You'll be flying jet to France and UK.
By the grace of God.
I said the other member of this group will be saying Anna, Dr. Tomori, and Geoffrey are the noise maker of this group.
No, the truth is, wherever I am, I always make noise now. But for the best things.
So you must be the one leading in noisemakers list when you were in school.
I'm telling you, I was to be in the military now.
Okay.
All right, no problem. So I'm going to send a quiz.
Okay.
I sent it yesterday, but I didn't send it. I decided to send it because we haven't done some of these things.
Send it.
I'm going to send a quiz.
Where is Mr. Hakim? We have missed Mr. Hakim.
Don't worry.
Idris.
I think he was here before.
Yes, Idris, we will need certificate.
Sure, you are going to get a certificate.
If you pass the exam,
we are going to pass, Geoffrey. We don't do exam more than this.
Okay.
We are
So
going
How do
to
we save
class.
it? Is how do we save this thing if you look at will this